Our vision is something most people only truly value when they feel it beginning to change. Over the years, I've seen how small symptoms can carry important signals, especially for those over 60. What may seem like a minor visual disturbance can sometimes be the body asking for attention. And it's through real patient stories that we begin to understand how these changes happen and what can be done about them. Helen was 65 years old when she first came into my clinic. She had recently retired from her job as a seamstress, a profession that required precision, focus, and long hours working with fine details. Even in retirement, she stayed active, often spending her afternoons sewing small projects and reading magazines. Her routine was calm, but her eyes had always been essential to her daily life. A few weeks before her visit, Helen began noticing something unusual. At first it was subtle. Small dark spots would appear in her field of vision, especially when she looked at bright surfaces like a white wall or a page of a book. She described them as tiny, floating shadows that moved when she tried to focus on them. Initially, she ignored it. Many people assume these changes are just part of aging, but over time, the spots became more noticeable. Sometimes they would drift across her vision while she was reading. Other times, she felt like her vision wasn't as clear as before, especially in one eye. That was when concern began to replace doubt. The moment that truly worried her happened one morning while she was sewing. She noticed a cluster of dark shapes that seemed more pronounced than before. It disrupted her ability to focus, and for the first time, she felt a sense of fear. That same week, she decided to schedule an appointment. When Helen sat down in my office, she explained everything in detail. She was calm, but I could sense her concern. Situations like this are not uncommon, especially as the eye undergoes natural changes over time. I began asking her questions about her symptoms, her routine, her diet, and any recent changes she might have experienced. As we talked, I explained that what she was seeing could be related to something known as vitreous changes. Inside the eye, there is a gel-like substance called the vitreous, which helps maintain the shape of the eye. As we age, this substance can begin to shrink and change consistency, sometimes creating small shadows that appear as floating spots in vision. But that was only part of the investigation. I always look beyond the surface explanation, because the health of the eye is deeply connected to overall lifestyle and nutrition. I asked Helen about her eating habits, and she admitted that over the years, her diet had become simpler, often lacking in fresh foods rich in nutrients important for eye health. This detail matters more than most people realize. The retina, located at the back of the eye, is responsible for capturing light and sending visual signals to the brain. It is one of the most active tissues in the body, and because of that, it depends heavily on nutrients that protect it from oxidative stress. Without adequate support, the cells in the eye can become more vulnerable over time. I explained to Helen that while floaters can be a natural part of aging, their intensity and frequency can sometimes be influenced by factors such as oxidative stress, circulation, and nutritional support. This is something I often emphasize. Vision health is not only about what happens inside the eye, but also about how the body supports it. At that point, I shared something that many of my patients find helpful. Understanding what's happening is important, but knowing what to do next is just as essential. For those who want to better understand how to improve vision, reduce blurry sight, and discover habits that support eye health over time, there is a material available in the first link in the description that explains these concepts in a simple and practical way. Helen listened carefully, and I could see that she was beginning to understand that her situation was not just about age, it was about support. We then talked about practical steps. I explained the importance of nutrients such as lutein and zeaxanthin, which are known to help protect the retina. I also mentioned vitamins like A, C, and E, along with omega-3 fatty acids, all of which play a role in maintaining eye health. I encouraged her to gradually reintroduce foods rich in these nutrients into her daily routine, especially leafy greens, colorful vegetables, and fruits known for their antioxidant properties. Hydration, regular eye rest, and reducing prolonged strain were also part of the discussion. What I made very clear to Helen is something I always repeat. There is no single cause and no single solution. Vision changes are often the result of multiple factors working together over time. But the good news is that many of these factors can be influenced. A few weeks later, Helen returned for a follow-up visit. She told me that while the spots had not completely disappeared, they felt less intrusive. More importantly, she felt calmer, more informed, and more in control of her situation. She had started making small changes, and those changes were already making a difference in how she experienced her vision. Before she left, I reminded her, and this is something I also want to share with you, that taking care of your vision is an ongoing process. It's about awareness, consistency, and understanding how your daily habits shape your long-term eye health. And for those who want to explore more practical ways to support their vision, avoid common issues, and understand which nutrients play a role in protecting the eyes, there is additional information available in the first link in the description that brings all of this together in a simple and accessible way. Experiences like Helen's remind me of something important. Vision is not something we should take for granted. Even small symptoms can carry meaningful information, and understanding them early can make a difference. If stories like this help you better understand your own eye health, consider subscribing to the channel. Here, we continue sharing real case studies, simple explanations, and practical insights to help you protect one of the most valuable abilities you have, the ability to see clearly.